Hello and welcome to episode 28 of the Inner Miami Show. I'm one half of your co-hosting duo, Brandon. Mateus Rojas is going to be Garbage Griffin. And joining me is Mike. Phil's going to win a trophy before Inner Miami Longan. How you doing, man?
Oh, man,
I figured I'd get those out of the way first.
Yeah. Yeah, that take's not looking so good. That is... I mean, I saw a take recently, like someone would take, I'm not going to name the guy's name, said they'd take Taylor over Morgan. And I thought it was one of the worst takes ever. And then I was reminded that I thought Phil was really going to kill it at Portland, and he is not killing it. They are calling for his head already.
Things are turning.
Yeah, things are turning. But
I got Mateus Rojas wrong.
You got that way. Well, I'm going to call out. Let's be fair to you. It's early. The sample size is very small. It's a heck of a sample size. I mean, I wish that was the entire sample size, but let's hold off a little bit longer. Maybe give it a game or two more before we fully all in on Rojas. But that sample.
Can I just say that he has 2 more goals now than I expected him to have his whole Inter Miami tenure? So I got it wrong.
Yeah, you got it wrong. I wanted to talk about real quick, and then we're going to get into it. I had my whole rant ready to go, which is I just want to talk about how dumb MLS is. And I'm not talking about this week's
my favorite subject.
We are the preeminent team. Inter Miami is. You know what's funny? Some people really criticize us if you say we when you're talking about your team, but I bleed pink, so I'm we. We are the preeminent team in MLS. We are their moneymaker. Our rivalry matchup in their rivalry week, which they are super excited to be talking about, is a Wednesday night matchup next week. How dumb is that? Not to mention, I now have to get on a bus and take a bus ride up. I have to. And you should be with me.
No.
Anyway, I will be there. I will be there. I guess we're going to have to record Tuesday night next week because we got a midweek game.
Are we going live from Exploria?
We are not. Frankly, I'm concerned that Joe Kerr and I may not make it. The rivalry is pretty hot between the two SGs, and we're traveling with SGs.
I will go. I will commit. If you're down for it, I will go live from here. And when you get on the bus, we get your reactions.
I don't know how fast we're getting on the bus. Have you seen our
No, it'll be hours. Yeah.
Yeah. And when we win, which we will, we're going to want to play their drums in Exploria. I'm sorry. Inter and Co Stadium. We call it.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah, and they're going to want to play the drums in our stadium for a solid hour until someone starts throwing glass bottles at us.
You haven't done Orlando away before, right?
No, it's my first one.
Right.
I'm legitimately concerned for my health.
Well, you'll find out why I won't do it again. Because they make the supporters section for Inter Miami. You have to wait till everybody leaves the stadium. You will be in the stands for a good hour and a half.
Well, it's for my safety. So.
Yeah, but you're still not safe.
I am hoping I have a chance. I always buy a souvenir whenever I go travel away, and there's gonna be so many Inter Miami jerseys there that hopefully it's
I hope so, man.
A little easier.
Yeah, it's definitely more dangerous going there than it is for them coming here.
I've gone to 4 or 5 away matches now, and I've never had a concern. I've wandered around Atlanta Stadium, Nashville's, LA's, but Inter and Co Stadium, I am a little nervous for. So we're gonna see how it goes.
Yeah, we definitely will see.
On the bus. Joe's saying he's been on the bus sleeping. I'm going to be annoying him. Look, the band's going to be, the drums are going to be playing.
Listen, don't fall asleep in the stands and miss the bus. That's all I have to say.
Don't fall asleep on the bus and see what happens.
Don't wander off and get lost in a foreign city.
Well, luckily the Brightline can always get us home.
Jeff,
there's been some incidents.
Yes. So when I went, there were not any major incidents that I was aware of, but the security there does go over the top when we come to town, and they just keep us there forever, which is good and bad because I think the more and more we play, the more heated the rivalry is going to get. Even though, we'll talk about it next week, but I think we have a bigger rival than Orlando.
This was a forced rivalry, but
Yeah.
I like how
I
it's
think
developed.
Nashville.
I think it's I think if you look at played matches and historical significance, Nashville is a rival, but the fans don't treat that as a rivalry. There's never been a fuck Nashville chant ever in our stadium. There at one point pre-Messi were lots of
Yeah.
fuck Orlando.
I
And remember, the whole reason we do that one is because they started it first. They
yeah.
started the fuck Miami chants,
They
and then
started
we
before we
copycatted
started
them.
playing.
Yeah, like they
But
was
yeah.
that 2 years ago the Damian Lowe header
Mhm.
after 300 minutes of stoppage
Ooh.
time or not stoppage time, rain
Yeah.
delays. That game
Yeah,
started
Sean.
with the fuck Miami chats.
Sean's right. Nashville's like a brotherly fight. I think that's why
Yeah,
I like it better.
there's
It's
mutual
more of a
respect in it.
yeah. Yeah. It's
You
not like
you're not gonna
Orlando.
see
I
you're not
do
gonna see a
hate
player in
Orlando.
Orlando. You're not gonna see a player in Orlando that was excited to end up with Messi's jersey. We've seen the Nashville
I
guys
guarantee
appreciate
you
it.
we
So,
will.
oh man,
We will. After the game, we will. There's a couple of people
so
on that team I can see trying to snag that jersey.
oh they'll snag it, but they're probably not gonna post on Twitter.
Oh hell no. But yeah, speaking of our team, we do have some season ticket holder news. For those of you who are season ticket holders, check your emails. You're not hallucinating. The team is coming through on one of their promises. There will be watch parties in both Broward and Miami-Dade County for the Orlando City game, which is awesome.
I I just have to call out. Not only are they doing what they said they're doing, they put it in Broward. And if you look at the maps
There's two.
historically of where yeah,
There's
but
one in
still
Broward
there's
and one in
something in
Miami.
Broward. For
Yeah.
years, there's never been anything in Broward. It's always if they did anything, it was always Miami. There used to be like
That's not
6 inter
true.
Miami bars.
They used to do the away game watch parties at Wendy's in Broward.
Okay,
I was so pissed.
let's not.
I w- and there are people who listen to this who were planning on going to one with me, and then it rained and they canceled it at the last minute. And that turned out to be the last one ever, and we
You're gonna
missed
get the
it.
Galazzo meal. The Galazzo meal, right?
We were gonna show up in the parking lot with coolers and see what happened.
I'm just I think my camera's loose. I am just excited. They are fulfilling a promise. Doesn't mean we may get an autograph session. And you know how I feel about autographs. It could happen.
It could, it definitely could. I think the logical timing for that is probably if we make an early exit Leagues Cup, something like that, we might see it. But I think it's
Which
possible that we see something. But again, I highly doubt it's going to be the guys you're looking for,
no, I know it's not gonna be, but even if I can get the
which is
other
fine with
guys, I'm
me.
happy.
Yeah,
So many of these new guys have never gotten them before.
I would
So
love it
so
if they announce like a week or two in advance, like who's going to be there. Because there are several players that I would want an autographed jersey from, but
yeah.
I'm not going to make a custom jersey and then not get to see them,
See what if they're smart. And actually, in this case, they might be smart enough to do it. They'll like literally have the jersey next to the
Just
guy.
have a stack of
Have a
jerseys and like,
stack of them.
hey,
Yep.
just give us cash. It's for our charity.
Yeah, and Rebellion saying Messi autograph line. Yeah, not happening. Of course, that one's not happening.
No,
And I don't even think of Suarez one. You say Busquets, and I'll go maybe.
I don't think of
Uh
Busquets. Um, I don't think Alba
definitely,
either. I think
but
that
definitely
would
you're
just
gonna
get
have the
crazy.
Gressels, the Rojas, the Redondos. I mean, the guys. Some of these guys,
I still got to get this signed.
Campana. I've got his card. But some of these guys might be guys that 5 years from now, the autograph you get now is going to be really something. Especially if you look
Yeah.
at Redondo or
Or
any
you
of our
look
youth
at
players, Gomez,
Kremoski or
Tomoski.
Gomez or yeah, any of those guys. But we'll see. We don't have any news on that yet. Definitely the club hasn't talked about it yet, but they might. They might soon.
Yeah,
So
no, I'm
we'll
excited
see.
about it.
Good stuff happening. I mean, come on.
Take a win.
That's so
Listen,
good.
let's take a win.
Yeah. Let's move right along to our New York Red Bulls recap. Yeah, I think we definitely took this personally.
All I could
Starting
think of was
lineup.
that Michael Jordan, and I took it personally. Like
Yeah,
that was as we're just racking up the goals, and you're seeing. And I don't know if you read. I forgot who put. It might have been Alex put on Twitter. The music was so loud in our locker room after the match. They were partying so hard they could hear it in the press room
That's
that
awesome.
having a blast. Like,
Well, I think that, and we joke around taking it personally. I think there was some of that, but I think what you're really seeing is that when we put on what's basically our best 11, Alba wasn't there, Redondo wasn't there, but
Gomez
basically,
wasn't
but
there.
this was the
So it
best,
was our
right,
best
Gomez, but this is the best we could
8 of
put
our
out.
best 11.
Yeah, this is like, yeah, this is our super close to best 11, and we fucking dominated them. Like it wasn't close. And so anyway, we had starting lineup calendar in the back. Alves and
Fair.
Freire in the back with Negri and Wygant out wide. Then we had a midfield with Gressel, Ruiz, Busquets, and then Messi, Taylor, and Suarez up top. Which I think I I can't complain about that starting lineup. It was good.
No, I don't think you can complain at all about the starting lineup. I think we said this last game. That last game was Tata's best coach game, and I think he rolled it forward into
Hmm.
another really well coached game. I do have some nitpicks that we'll get into, but this is the lineup you had to come out here with. This is our best lineup we have available. We're in it to
Yeah.
win it now in MLS. We're trying to bank points because we can't afford to not have more points when Messi and Gomez and these other guys are away. I know Gomez is not right now, but are away for Copa and every other FIFA window that we should absolutely respect. But no,
And
this was an absolutely fine lineup, and I think not starting Rojas, considering he had just joined the team, was the thing to do. So
oh well, of course, yeah,
again, it was right. It was a good lineup.
yeah.
Um, and then Tata did something that I have been begging him to do
Mm,
for games and games now, which is make a halftime sub, make an early sub to change a game, and the Ruiz to Rojas flip
yeah,
absolutely changes the game. Completely
yeah.
changing it. It opened it right up. And Rojas, I don't I don't think him and Messi have ever played together. I'm not aware that they had any stops in their
No,
history
I don't.
together, but there is chemistry there from moment one that is just amazing.
Yeah, it was surprising to see that he was that dialed in. But I also think like Messi can pretty much make chemistry with somebody right away. Like we saw him and Robbie Taylor just form this like partnership right away, and like he can bring that out of people. I think if it's somebody who wants to work, who's going to put in the effort,
Yeah.
like he'll do what he has to do, and I think
I think
that's what we
that's
saw
the key of
there.
it. He'll make chemistry with people who will allow him to be Messi. PSG is a perfect example of everyone wanted to be Messi on that line, so therefore the chemistry really didn't exist, especially when Neymar was there. Um,
Yeah.
but I mean, it worked. It worked so well, Rojas. It was a great tactical move, and something that,
Well, and I
quite
think
frankly, we haven't.
before we get into that, I think we should talk about the first half. Um, you know, we talked about it in our post game thing, and um, you know, I know how Mike is, and one of the first questions that I said I wanted to ask him was when we went down 1-0, were you saying, "Oh shit, we're gonna draw or lose"?
I was comfortable we were still going to win it. I
Yeah,
felt it was there. Remember, I walked in a lot to this match saying New York Red Bulls. This is the team that can press us. They're built to hurt us. But the problem with, and this is kind of like a FIFA thing, if you play FIFA and you set like full on press, your guys wear out in the second half, and all of a sudden you're screwed. And essentially, that's part of what we saw happen was they just could not maintain the press. And once we started counterattack, because that was the second thing we saw in the second half. Instead
so
of playing purely out of the back, we started playing direct.
so
And
I
all of a
read
sudden,
I
they
read
couldn't
an
handle it anymore.
interesting article about the New York Red Bulls and what's happening to them in these last couple of games. And you're saying that they were pressing and pressing, but the stats and the way that they played actually showed that they haven't pressed hard in about 5 games since the last time they played us. And it shows. Yeah, we were down 1-0 in the first half, but I at no point in that first half did I say, "Oh, Red Bulls are really controlling this game. Red Bulls are creating shots." We created 8 shots in the first half. You
Yeah,
know,
but in the first 20 minutes, they spent a lot of time on our side of the ball. Our
yeah,
calendar,
but
the defenders were constantly under pressure.
it wasn't the true high press that we've seen Red Bulls do before.
it was still a pretty high press. Maybe it's not the crazy hyper high press they've run in past years,
Right.
but
And
it
so
was still that was not a low block. That was not like let the midfield play. That was we're going to try to keep this on your side of the field as much as possible.
yeah, I think there's some of that. But I don't think I don't buy into the fact that the Red Bulls got tired and that's why we dominated. We dominated because we started making slightly better judgment calls in the penalty area, especially with Rojas coming in and
Mm,
just shifting that because we got
I
numbers forward. It wasn't that they were tired, man.
I think it
Don't
was
discount that this team like it was a domination. It was not because they were tired. You don't get
I
tired. You don't have a full week's rest and then get tired after 20 minutes. That doesn't happen in
yeah,
MLS,
but
man.
there's the first 50 minutes, the first 45 minutes. They pushed on us. We didn't have any. We had very few. We might have shots, but they weren't very good shots. There was a ton, every time we took
Right,
a
but
shot in the first half.
so you say
They
they
had
pushed
tracked.
on us,
They had tracked. Yeah, because they went
but they
forward
didn't.
and they tracked back.
They
I mean,
didn't. They
my seats
moved
are
the
right on
ball
the 18
forward
yard line.
and
I was
then
even telling my
lost the
wife like,
ball right away.
but
They
they're
lost the ball
constant.
right away, but there
But
was no
they
they
were
didn't have
pressing.
the opportunity to press high.
No, but they were pressing on loss of possession, man. As soon as they lost possession, they
But
kept on pressing.
right, but pressing individual players is much different than pressing high, and they weren't pressing high.
Well,
Those
they're the
players weren't
individual.
tired by halftime. I can tell you that
I think
because they
the
didn't
runs they
have
were the runs they were doing back to defend because part of what happened, they were doing a great job cluttering the box when we took those shots. I think you might have said you said 8 shots. How many were actually on goal, made it to the keeper? It was very few because their defenders and their midfield was rushing up and down the field. I'm not trying to take
but they
away from
weren't
this.
but I think you're confusing what a high press is. And you get nitpicky, so I'm gonna get nitpicky. A high press is the defenders on the other side of the halfway line, and we didn't see that with Red Bulls. They didn't have the opportunity to get the defenders that far up.
I will
Red
accept
Bulls
your
were on their
nitpicky,
back foot
but their forwards.
for the whole first half.
I'll grant you, I'm probably confusing high press versus pressing on possession. And that's also what
Yeah.
Red Bull's constantly been known for. And they were pressing on loss of possession
Well,
very
yeah, and
hard.
I agree with that. But the thing was, is Red Bulls were losing possession pretty much at midfield.
Yeah.
I outside of that first goal, like I never felt like Red Bulls were threatening in that first half.
And that's why I tell you, I wasn't scared. I wasn't concerned we wouldn't come back. But I also think that you haven't called the fact that instead of trying to play out of the back, which we did in the first half, in the
Mhm.
second half, we started to just do straight up counter and press forward. We were
Yeah.
not waiting to build the line. We were
Well,
just turning around and going, putting it right back through our midfield took possession, took and held it.
and I think Joe nailed it here with his comment. We expected the high press, so we played defensively in the first half. When we realized they weren't doing it, we took advantage in the second half. And I think that's exactly what happened. And that's why we saw Ruiz on the field with him and Busquets kind of being a little bit more defensive in case things went wrong. And then when you made that switch to Rojas, which again in the AZ Rebellion just mentioned, and I think Sean mentioned as well, and you obviously already have, like Tata made the right substitution. And I think from half forward, he went from let's play defensively to let's run this game
Uh,
because
so
there's opportunities.
so let me almost backtrack a little. I said on one more thing. I think this was Rojas was coming in, maybe not at 45, maybe it was 60, but this was always planned. So when we're saying like it was a pure tactical decision, I think it was also just he wanted to get Rojas in and just not the minutes. I still think it wasn't a matter of just switching from a defensive mindset to a more attacking. It was just purely like, I guess it is. I guess it's just he stopped playing out of the back. And every time we've stopped playing out of the back, we've done
Right.
better.
He changed his tactic to
Yeah, he
no
did.
longer
I'm giving.
play on a
I'm
defensive
struggling to
footing
give
to
him
an
credit.
attack.
Like you have to understand how hard it is to give Tata credit.
Mike, I'm still on the fire Tata train. I hate the guy, but
So
you can't just make up tactics and like push it into where you want it to fit the narrative. Like that's not
I
what we
can.
saw. You
I can do
can't.
that. You are this is on the internet. I can do whatever I want. Tata did this because a hooker told him to. That's the way that's the next thing we're gonna run on.
Oh
Man,
boy.
that's to be a short. No, but so this is the piece of I want to kind of flip out. So one thing that frustrated me with Tata here, and I love your opinion because we haven't discussed this. when Avalos picks up the yellow card in the 57th minute, Tata now knows he's not going to have him for the next game. And in my opinion, come the 80th minute, he should have come out, and whoever's playing the starter next week should have come in and started getting some reps. And I know it's a nitpicky thing, but I'm assuming it's going to be Sergey who's going to start next week next to Freire. That's kind of who I think is third on our defensive our depth chart. He hasn't had a lot of minutes lately. And when you're up 6-1, your game's already in hand. Get your center back in to start getting him some reps because he's playing. He's the starter next week. Just seemed like one of those things that a good coach thinks about and Tata doesn't.
Yeah.
I know it's nitpicky,
Yeah,
but it's just one of those.
But I don't think Sergey's ready to come in and start.
Well,
I don't
someone
think
else is starting because Toto's not
it'll
playing.
probably be Sailor.
All right, but then same comment, but replace.
But Sailor's been training. He's match fit. Why risk somebody?
Because
if you know, like, why risk?
How many times have you told me?
What if he makes that sub and he pops his knee? He's out for the season.
Because if he does that, in the sub, he's not match fit. He's not going to be match fit most likely next week. Like, you're the one who said it. I'm kind of bringing the receipts. How many times have you said the practice field isn't the game time? Inter Miami 2 is not game time. Game time is game time.
Yeah.
You want one of our guys to have game time.
Right, but giving Sergey 20 minutes at the end of the game, I don't think Sergey's ready to go 20 minutes.
No, but hold on.
Sailor subbed in before. Sailor subbed in last week or week before.
I would have wanted Sailor because he's going the full 90 next time. Whoever it is, they're going the full 90.
They're not going to go the full 90. Watch. Sailor will start. Sailor will probably go 60 minutes, and then maybe Christoph comes in.
So for those that don't know, MLS's rules are once you hit your 5th yellow, and there's some rules to kind of get off it, but once you hit your 5th yellow, you're on yellow card accumulation, and you're suspended next match. So we will not have Toto next match. That's done.
Ash, way too soon for Ian Frey. Yeah. I wrap the boy in bubble wrap and give him some time. Towards the end of the season, the playoff run, I think he's going to play part coming off the bench, but I don't think he's.
Yeah. Like, I'll go so far.
I would love it, but
you and I were texting back and forth. Like, I want Campana to come in, but if Campana, like, I would have rather had the center back that's going to start next week come in and Campana not come in.
Have we seen it anywhere confirmed that Alves is suspended?
He was on yellow card watch via MLS.com before the game.
Okay.
Like, if you went to the website, it had it listed as on warning. What is it called? A warning or watch?
I haven't seen it like officially reported because sometimes like if you go so many games since like your first yellow drops off. I don't know. It's weird.
He's accumulated quite a bit of thumbs. So I mean, he's at definitely 5. Yeah,
but I think if you have Freire there, I think
I'm not saying I'm concerned as much as like I just want these guys to the playing time so they're ready.
See, so and this is my thing. Like the guys were feeling good. The team was rolling. Tata made some subs at the end. Brought in Campana and Noah in it at the 84th minute. Really nothing.
And I would have rather seen
and Brighton. And that's fair. But I also think there's something to be said where this Red Bulls team is capable of scoring on a bad back line. And
5 goals in 7 minutes.
We have seen crazier things in MLS. And I think we also wanted to make a statement win against what is perceived as probably one of the best teams in the East.
I'm just trying to think strategically.
You can't just celebrate a win.
No,
it's incredible. It is absolutely incredible.
You know what? I'll tell you what.
If we won 5-2, you would have complained that if we won 5-2, Ryan Sailor came in at the 60th minute, you would have complained that Tata went to a defensive formation.
Oh yeah,
and that we couldn't have put in.
I'm
more
not
goals.
asking for the 60th. I'm asking for the 80th. I would give the
80th minute in a.
Just give him 10 minutes.
I don't think that makes a huge difference.
I just think any extra time on the legs. All right, so the other one I want to talk about, last week I defended Gressel. I did. I think he should start. This week, I think he plays well until he misses a complete sitter. The guy next to me, actually the two guys next to me, are cursing this man's name, want to see him burned in effigy.
Ooh, that's a bit harsh.
Yeah, but that's what was being said. There was, we all know I love a good F-bomb. There was a lot of them being said to my right. Like, he's the worst player of all time. I don't know what he's doing. I'm like, they clearly haven't watched all of Inter Miami. In fact, even though I know how they have.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I Gressel does not shoot. He should not take a shot. I accept that of him. And if you want to make an argument that a midfielder that can't shoot is a waste, I can accept the larger argument. But that's not what he's supposed to be doing on the team. And I'm really struggling for the hatred of Gressel. Like, I just don't have it. And I would love someone to give it to, explain to me why I'm supposed to hate Gressel more than I do, because I just think he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. What he's not supposed to be doing is taking shots.
I agree with you. I think he is a midfielder, kind of like we've seen. And obviously, before the chat goes crazy and tells me they're obviously not on the same level, I know. But you look at a guy like Thiago, magician with the ball, all the skills in the world, passes. But if you put him in front of an open goal, he's probably going to miss. Right? But he does great things in the midfield. And I think the idea for Gressel was for him to be more in that role and to be more of like an assist maker for Messi, because that's why he's playing right behind Messi. And we've seen the connection there at times. What I think is causing a lot of this hate is how much he's getting paid. I think that goes into it because he's one of the higher TAM deals on the team. He's just not showing everything that we need. He's showing poor defensively. When we turn over the ball, he's not tracking back as much as he should. Now, do I think the guy should be burned in effigy? Absolutely not.
I don't
think
know
he's doing all right.
But I don't think that's actually true. I think he's put on more miles. I know, even though he's played more minutes than anyone, he's also put in more miles than everyone. So he is tracking back.
Okay, he's tracking back. I don't think he's tracking back effectively.
I think
We don't really see him press.
You see, when I watch him, he's constantly playing defensive ball. He's constantly tracking back. He's all over the damn field. And that's where I like a blue collar player. I always have. And to me, Gressel's a blue collar player. He does everything he needs to do. He is that. He's a distributor. He's not a goal scorer.
Yeah, and Sean just kind of made my point for me here. When he tracks back, he's not covering. He's not trying to recover the ball. Like, he's tracking back, but he's not being effective when he tracks back. So, like, he's putting in the effort, but I think I don't know. I was never a fan of him in the midfield. I thought as a left back, I thought,
right back.
we want to be, or right back. I'm sorry, you're right. Because we want to be more attacking. I thought, yeah, he's played there his whole time, his whole career. Maybe if we want to put him as a winger, I could see that. But I don't think he's that bad, though.
I'm not
do
saying
think
he's
there
the
are
best.
better options on the team now, though. I don't think he's done anything to secure his starting spot anymore.
I agree with you that his starting spot is not secure. I am not convinced Kremoski is the replacement for him.
I don't think Kremoski's the replacement. I think it's Rojas.
I don't think it's Rojas.
I think it's either Rojas or Taylor.
Well, I mean, also, I'll say this.
Two.
I think Rojas is going to play over Taylor, and I don't think Gomez may ever see the pitch again for us. So I think that's where Rojas is going to be playing.
Ash, I don't think Gressel's issues are down to coaching, because Gressel had some of his best seasons playing for Tata, but that was as a right back. Tata forcing him into the midfield is odd, in my opinion. It could be that Tata's putting him in an inopportune spot, but Tata knows what he can do and knows what he can do when he's at his best. So I don't think it's so much that Tata's misplaying him. I think at this point, we probably overpaid on what should be a role player and expected him to be a starter. Because if he puts in those efforts coming in against tired legs in the second half, maybe he's doing more. And maybe we're thinking this is a guy that we need, like he did with Columbus. He wasn't a starter at Columbus. Just my
No,
thoughts.
I'll go back to at the time we got him. I would have so much rather had Robinson, who ended up in Cincinnati. Like, same money. That's the player I would have got. But again, it's my kind of tangent. We'll see more what happens. I just don't get the hate. I don't think it's deserved.
Yeah,
Another thing I walked away from this weekend, I can't wait to find out how much we paid Cello. Because did you see the assist by Yedlin this
hmm
week?
yeah,
They scored
yeah,
in 26 seconds, I think was the fastest
yeah.
goal they've ever scored. It was beautiful. And, Cello makes sense largely if we freed money from Yedlin and he's a cheaper player, even though we also did have to buy an international roster. So that's 175,000 right there. So, like, I hope we got Cello cheap because I really still struggle. I'm not saying
I
he's
don't.
better. I'm not saying Yedlin was better, but I don't think we really upgrade. It doesn't feel like we got a huge upgrade there.
I think it does because instead of talking every week about how we got exposed on the right side, we're not talking about that every week.
Yeah, but we went to the
We're not
4-3-3 now.
discussing. But
I
Mike, even with Yedlin in the 4-3-3 in preseason, you were freaking out when he was in the 4-3-3 because he wasn't doing what he needed to do defensively, and we were weak on the right side.
that doesn't sound like me at
Like,
all.
oh, it doesn't. Ooh,
No.
let me pull up the tapes. But like I think because we are not talking about the right side, we're not getting exposed on counterattacks on the right side. I think it was an upgrade, and I'm fine with it. Do I still think that Yedlin is a special player who can contribute in the right setting? Yes,
I
I
think
absolutely do.
Yedlin on this
But
team.
Yedlin in this team would not have worked.
See, I think Yedlin on this team would have been fine.
No, and this is why AZ Rebellion nailed it. Cello is much better defensively than Yedlin. And that's what we need. We need someone who can win the ball back. Yedlin's not winning one-on-one matchups.
He
He's
did win
not.
one
He's
though.
in
He did.
No, he's intercepting the ball. He's not winning one-on-one matchups.
I
Go
can tell
back
you
and
he won.
watch.
I, remember where
One.
my seats
Oh,
are.
I sit on the
My
18-yard box. I saw
with
him
the
win
red.
one
I
against
want.
the Montreal. Yeah. Get out of here,
Wow.
man.
Wow. First off, that's not what I sound like. Second off, no, I saw him win many times one on one with his hands behind his back because he's very consistent with his hands once he gets inside the 18 the
I,
box.
listen, I love Yedlin, but and Sean makes another great point. He overlaps the left back and crosses in you. Yedlin can't do that here. And that's absolutely correct. He can't.
Yedlin overlapped.
He overlapped and then we were exposed.
Well, that's because the person he's overlapping with isn't covering his position. The whole point of an
I
overlap is the guy.
But when you
Funny
make a
enough, I just
run,
watched.
when you make a run and you decide to overlap somebody, you got to make sure you're communicating that. And Yedlin never communicated that. Yedlin would go up when the midfielder in front of him was already up in the attacking third. You can't do that as a left back and be successful. And maybe that's what Tata asked him to do because he knew we had to outscore people. But
I
Yedlin
think a
was a
part of that's,
defensive liability.
but I think part of that's on the midfield too for understanding the overlap is happening. Like that's not
I
purely on Yedlin for not screaming. I'm making the overlap. Like that's not
It
the
is.
expectation.
Part
No,
of
it
the
isn't.
listen, like you have to admit Cello is a better defender than Yedlin.
Oh, I admit it. I'm just making sure we got the money value was there too.
I think for whatever we paid for Cello's been worth it. Because until now, we haven't talked about the right back position since he got here. And there's been at least one or two games where he was
We're,
probably our best player on the field.
you were also constantly agreeing that we have a leaky line and we expect 1 to 2 goals against us just from across the line, whether it's left back, right back, center backs. We
Right. But when
expect
you
that.
have a team that's clearly not investing in center backs, you can't have liabilities across your whole back line. Alba cleans up defensively when he can. Cello cleans up defensively when he can. If you
I think
know your
the
weakness is up the
strongest
middle, Redondo fills that spot when
the
healthy.
strongest argument you can make, I think, against me right now is that I'm talking about this now when Alba's not playing because Negri plays a lot more defensive, which allowed someone like Yedlin to go up. When Alba goes up, I kind of forgot about Alba not being here past 2 weeks how much we revert to almost a 3-man back line because they all rotate to the left to cover Alba going up, and that Cello has to play a true defensive role, which Yedlin can't. It's been 2 weeks. I've already kind of pushed that out of my mind, but that's the argument.
The argument is that overall, Cello is an upgrade over Yedlin. Yedlin still has one of the sweetest passes.
It was gorgeous
in MLS. He you can't take that away from him. And I'm not trying to sit here and say that Cello can do that because we haven't seen that yet. But what I am saying is overall in the system, Cello is the player to have, not Yedlin. I'm happy Yedlin's doing well in Cincinnati. He needs to be someplace that can embrace him and play the way he wants to play.
My whole argument
Like we
is,
saw
I
at
just hope we're not.
Spurs.
My whole argument is, I hope we're not paying more for Cello than we paid for Yedlin, or
I
the same.
doubted.
That we need
Celo's
the money. The money
alone
needs to
this
be saved.
year. The money doesn't need to be
Oh,
saved.
that's right. He was.
Look at the team that we put. Look at the team we put on the field, and we don't have Yedlin.
Listen, we need money for August.
Not with the rule changes, man. We don't need the money. We got the money.
We still, since your theory is one of those guys coming over on TAM, we need the money.
We'll find the money. We'll be all right. If your theory is correct and we sell Gomez in the summer, forget about it. The money's there.
Yeah, you're
just convert most of that.
No,
yeah, but if you
how much that'd be enough,
you can convert most of it to. You can convert all that you need to make those two moves happen into GAM.
So Sean's saying that Cello thinks about 350, which is about half. Well, so it's plus the 175, 525, still savings of 200,000. It's good business.
Yeah. You doubted Chris Henderson, man. Jesus Christ. I hope he doesn't listen. Unbelievable, man.
I'm not saying I doubted Chris.
Atone for that. I'm saying it.
You guys can burn me in effigy.
Oh, that'd be fun.
No. Wow.
Anyway, moving on. Team of the match day. Mike and I were trying to figure out where they were going to fit Rojas into this because we thought it was possible he ended up on the bench.
Yeah, because Surge also, because he's got a hat trick. I'm like, okay, well, it can't be all three of them. So I guess Rojas is a midfielder this week.
Yeah. So Suarez with his hat trick up top, Rojas in the midfield, Messi obviously up top with his record-setting 6 goal involvements. And
I'm going to claim my only point of the night.
I'm
claiming my only point of the night is that I said he would man of the match, and you said it'd be Suarez. I'm like, no, you don't realize the night Messi had.
Listen.
That's my only point I'm getting right tonight. I'm going to lose every other battle.
I'm always going to vote on the side of somebody else because I think just because when his name is Messi, it's going to overshadow thing. Yeah, 5 assists and 1 goal is going to beat 3 goals by Suarez, but a 12-minute hat trick is pretty goddamn impressive. Not to mention those in attendance probably don't know, and I'm going to get on the club for this. The club has not made an announcement about it, has not celebrated it, but for everyone who was at that game, we saw Suarez's 500th club goal. And the only reason anybody knows about it is because Suarez put it out. The team hasn't done shit about that. It is ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I mean, his name's not Messi.
It doesn't matter. He is
well,
probably
to the club. He
is the number 2 most recognized player in this league. And you don't put anything about like him hitting 500 goals. Like that's sad.
So let me ask this.
You can hype up Messi after all you want, but we're at Wednesday. There should have been a tweet about his 500th goal by now.
So I'm going to put this up, and this will be a little bit I'm going to get in trouble for this one, but it's been said a lot recently that the English tweets and English social media is not nearly up to par with the Spanish social media. I don't think you know Spanish. Is it possible there was a Spanish tweet about this that you didn't see? Not from the
team. The team put out 3 Spanish tweets from Messi. I didn't see anything about Suarez. Do you have one?
I don't. I was just asking because I don't follow any of our Spanish social media. But there's been a lot of commentary about the
social media.
The disparity has changed. has
Right.
been very
But the team
aware.
doesn't have an English and a Spanish Twitter account. They have the team Twitter account. It may as well be the Spanish Twitter account because they put out 3 tweets about Messi this week that were pictures of him with like quotes in Spanish, and I can't run that shit through Google Translate. I
Maybe
don't know
one
what
of
it
them
said.
was a picture of Messi saying Suarez hit 500 goals, and that's what you missed.
There was no mention of Suarez because I checked those.
El
You
Pistero?
know,
Did you see it?
you know that I comb through our social media pages to put these decks together. I don't make these graphics. They mostly come from Inter Miami's pages, and there was zero mention.
I'm just
Sean,
You're
I
wrong.
do think.
By the way, you are wrong. For the
What do you
record,
mean I'm wrong?
you are absolutely wrong. 7 hours ago, Inter Miami
No
posted
way.
7 hours ago. You have every right to make this rant. I just think it's funny. 7 hours ago, they posted it.
Jesus Christ. I did the deck last night. Now I got to find it.
Yeah. AZ Rebellion said the same thing. It's the first, as soon as you go to Inter Miami's Twitter page, 500 goals.
And they pinned it. Well, good for them. Still, it's bullshit that it took till now to mention it. But yeah, like I thought that would have been something they announced in stadium, right? Like they knew that was coming. That would have been cool to announce. Give the guy a moment.
Yeah, they should have in the stadium. The 5 assists and the goal.
Mention it too.
I get why that eclipsed it in the immediate aftermath, but Monday or Tuesday it should have been said. I think that's fair commentary.
Yeah. Look, MLS 3 hours ago they mentioned it.
Well, it's
MLS actually a couple days ago, I think they retweeted Suarez's tweet. Because I did see that.
Well, at this rate, if he's here 2 seasons, he's gonna score 500 goals in this league. They can just keep on putting up 6 goals.
And now they're neck and neck in Golden Boot,
which
is something I call.
By the way, let me go back to last week when I said, what was it, 4-2 against 4-1 against New England wasn't good enough. This game validated that statement really well. Because if you can beat New York Redbulls 6-2, you could have put up 10 goals against New England without even sweating it. So I think the club validated my entire rant last week.
Whatever you say, Mike. Whatever you
I'm
say.
just saying. It wasn't good enough.
Man.
I think Messi yelled at the team, and they went even more of 4-1 last week against that shit team, 1-1 at the half. We are going to fucking. And that was all said in Spanish because it sounded very different than I'm saying now. But that's what he said to the club.
Mike. Whatever you say, man. I don't think so.
It wasn't good
I don't
enough.
think so. I think you play to your competition, and I think that we raised the bar against New York Redbulls.
Well, that's scary.
Well, that's what we did.
Right
Just wait for Columbus. That game's going to be amazing.
I'm nervous because that game is 2 days after the Copa Finals, right? Like, that's the game right after Copa.
We'll see.
That is very concerning to me because that game we could be playing for playoff hope, for home field advantage and things of that nature. Like,
yeah,
it's good.
We'll see. Next segment is the segment we like to do: Inter Miami around the league power rankings. We stay at number 1, Columbus number 2. Which I will say I get it, but I also disagree. I think Columbus should be number 1 after what they did.
If we didn't put the beat down on New York that we put down, do you
100%
think
we get leapfrogged?
Yeah, that was going to be my point. Is that I think we would have been leapfrogged because Columbus went to Monterey, did what we couldn't do. I said before the Red Bulls game, I think they're the best team in the league. I'm struggling to say that now just because of what we did. No, I rock my belief flag, and sooner or later I have to believe. And 6-2 kind of made me a believer.
No,
but Columbus is really good.
You're going to start believing when we lift the Shield or the MLS Cup. That's when you'll believe.
It's I won't nitpick.
So.
I'm saying it now. I will. If we win MLS Cup,
Bullshit. You'll be like, Messi should have held the supporter shield better. He held it like this, and it should have been like this.
that's
You'll
not
nitpick.
that's not what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be at this wherever we play, which at this rate it's gonna be at a home game, and I'm just going to enjoy it and bask in it. It's gonna be amazing.
We'll see. Listeners, make sure you hold the receipts for when we
Yes.
win.
If we win MLS Cup, hold the receipts. I said I will not nitpick our win.
He will.
Unless Campana almost fucks it up for us again. And then I will
You
nitpick
can't
the
say
hell out of
unless.
him.
You can't say you won't nitpick if we win. And then say, oh, here's all these conditions. If Campana screws
I'm only
it
making
up.
one.
Oh,
Because
if
I will
if
not
Busquets
forgive
does this,
I will
if
not
there's an
forgive
own goal.
Campana. I will not forgive Campana for having these strikers moments and missing.
Have you seen what Campana looks like? He doesn't need you to forgive him.
That's okay.
He gets
He can live with
forgiveness on a nightly basis. I
Well, he
guarantee
can
it.
get forgiveness, but I'm just telling you, I won't forgive him.
And I
The
don't
same
think
as
he's
you.
losing sleep over it.
Well, maybe he should be because he ain't playing soccer for a professional team right now.
Oh my. Anyway, standings for each conference. We still are top of the league. I think it is worth mentioning that Toronto, Cincinnati, even Red Bulls right around us have a game in hand on us still. So there's still a chance that we are not solely in the top of East once those
The
games catch
interesting
up.
one is Minnesota right now because they're actually tied with us in supporter standings for points per game because they've only played 10 matches, so both of us are sitting at 2 points.
Yeah.
Who would have expected Minnesota to really be? I mean, to be fair, who would expect the West to look like this? The West is all
So the West looks like this every year. Like, and we always say, oh, the power shifting to the East, Messi's here, power shifting to the East. But I think we can still say, like, the top end of the Western Conference is
actually
pretty
that's what I'm
damn good.
referring to. But I'm not referring to them being bad. I'm not referring to the West being bad. I'm more saying look at the top of the West. Salt Lake, Minnesota, Vancouver, Colorado for the top 5. That's the piece I'm calling. No, St. Louis is barely in the top 10. LAFC at 7. Seattle at 11th. Dallas, who's a perennial playoff contender, 13th.
Who's the coach at Portland?
I skipped over them for a reason.
Oh, okay.
Because they're not a perennial. Well, they're a perennial playoff contender at least. But like Dallas at 13. That's not what the West typically looks like. The West is going through a huge shakeup right now. I'm curious if it stays kind of past the break.
We have a long season to go, but
that is it's quite an interesting.
Minnesota, I think, is the biggest shock because they're doing it without Reynoso, who's holding out again. And they hired their coach like the week the season started. Like, that doesn't get talked about enough, I feel like.
I was talking, we were watching the highlights as a family, and my wife couldn't stop commenting on the Minnesota jerseys and how awesome a jersey is. So maybe it's just the power of the jersey.
And for those who are just joining us, I've said it on the show before. If we did not have Inter Miami, I would 1,000% be a Minnesota United fan. I love everything they do.
I'd be a Nashville fan.
I love them.
I think Nashville is going to end up.
They get even more points because they beat Everton.
That was such a weird summer where everyone else fails and Minnesota beat Everton. Then Everton just about got relegated. So
I don't remember, but I don't know if it was the season before or if it was him, but I believe that Everton team was coached by Carlo Ancelotti, who is now in the Champions League final.
So Mike's saying, does anyone be at this point actually believe that any team can beat Miami?
Yes.
Columbus can. I'm not saying
Cincy can give us a run.
I'm not saying 9 times out of 10, but I'd say at least 5 times out of 10, Columbus can hold Inter Miami at bay. What they just did in Monterey, I don't know if you watched any of the highlights from that game, and I get it that Monterey was starting to get their backs against the wall, but the passing they were doing was amazing. It was pinpoint. Yeah. Every player knew their position. They're good.
And like, I got shit for saying this before, and I'm gonna say it again because people keep telling me that Monterey, they're not the the Bayern Munich of CONCACAF. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both teams that play in
I didn't say that.
Monterey.
Don't
No,
blame me on that one.
no, I'm not saying it was you. The people in the chat know who they are. Both teams that play in Monterey are historically the juggernauts of CONCACAF. And for us to go ahead and have a team in MLS that beat them is impressive. Columbus could give us a
And
lot of trouble.
deservedly beat them. Not like they got lucky, not that it came down to PKs. They beat them up here and they beat them worse down there.
Mm-hmm.
It was impressive.
Yeah. And then, like I said, I think Columbus can. I think Cincy can. We've seen Galaxy give us trouble. And Galaxy weren't even playing their best soccer at that point. I don't think
Yeah,
we were either.
we weren't
But
either.
I do think that they could give us a fight. Real Salt Lake, I don't see it. I think they're kind of fluff at the top. Minnesota, though, I think could give us some trouble. But there's definitely teams that could beat us.
Mike, I don't think they need the problem. The thing is, they're not built to. So Mike's comment here is Columbus was amazing, but Monterey doesn't have Messi and Suarez. But Columbus is built to contain whoever you have, right? They're built to take away whatever advantage you have and just grind you out and take advantage and throwing down your throat. Like that's what they're built for. Like they're patient.
So the other thing too, and Sean mentions it here, is they have Wilfred Nancy, man. Like Nancy got a whole lot out of that Montreal team that really didn't deserve to be anywhere near where they are because they have the same players right now and they're struggling. Wilfred Nancy is a very smart tactical mind. Mike and I have had this argument privately that I think there's a possibility somebody makes a call for Nancy in the summer and says, "Hey, I know you just signed this extension, but you want to come coach in Europe?"
I don't think that was an argument. I'm not disagreeing with that statement.
Well, we had the conversation.
My one statement that I keep on saying is I don't want him coaching the U.S. men's national team because I have a very specific rule for who has to be the coach, which is it has to be an American-born coach. But if we had him, this team, any team but got him would be better, in America and in some of Europe. He's that good.
Sean, they all say that. They all say that until the European teams come calling. There are opportunities that he will have, and there will be teams that call him, say, "Hey, you want to come over here?" And he's going to see what's happened to like Xavi Alonso and like all these guys who are starting at their careers in Europe and say, "Hey, I think I could do that." And he'll make the jump. He'll make the jump if the opportunity is right. He's smart enough not to just say, "Oh yeah, I'm going to go take the Bayern Munich job." He knows he's not ready for that, but he'll take what's ready for him, what he's ready for, I should say. So
or he does take the job, gets paid a ton of money for a year and a half, and then comes back here and takes over another MLS team and
we'll see.
banks it.
We'll see. I think if you believe any coach who says they're going to stay where they are, they're lying to you, unless they're at the top, the very top. I don't even think Pep would stay at City if somebody offered him more money.
Just think of Xavi saying, "I'm leaving," and then deciding to stay. Like they all, for whatever, for the right amount of not just money, because it's not just money, but money, influence, control. Any jobs there?
Absolutely. But
so Mike, you're kind of Mike's saying Wilfred Nancy's the best coach, but he's not the best team. There's two different statements. Who's the best team in MLS, and can anyone beat Miami? And I mean, the old, I forget who said the NFL statement on any given Sunday, like any team can win and lose. Like there's some truth that we will not go undefeated. Like we're going to lose games sooner or later. It's going to happen for whatever reason. Like Columbus has a better shot than most to do it to us.
Yeah. Agreed. And speaking of Nancy, we got to get into his former team, Montreal. This was their starting lineup. They ran out against Nashville, which is pretty close to their best 11. Some familiar faces, Lassie and Duke in the starting lineup. Most of the lineup returns from last season. They got drummed 4-1 against Montreal, which, Mike mentioned before we started recording is That's a lot worse than it used to be.
Yeah, Nashville. They got drawn by Nashville.
Yeah, sorry.
So what's interesting is I was just looking at your list there. Martinez is on their bench. He
Mhm.
wasn't listed as one of the subs there. He scored against us, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
No, we lost 3-2 to them. I think this was a little bit of a trap game then. I am concerned it's a little bit of a trap game again. It shouldn't be. But coming off that 6-2 win
Then looking at Orlando midweek,
and looking at
possible.
Orlando midweek, which is a big midweek rivalry game. Now, when we
It's
played them the first
possible.
time, we didn't have Messi, obviously. We didn't have Suarez. It was I'm just looking at now. Our original team played them was Taylor, Campana, Alba, Sunderland, Redondo, Gressel, Ruiz, Christoph, Avilés, Alba, and then Allen and Calendar. So more than half our team will be different this
Yeah.
week. But
Alba's going to be back.
we're gonna
Whether
win.
that's
But
off the bench or starting, we'll
yeah,
see.
we tweeted. Who did I steal that tweet from?
Fabian?
Fabian. Yeah, I tweeted that out today anyway, or yesterday. I tweeted. So looks like Alba's gonna be back. We're gonna win.
Yeah. Yeah.
Four,
I
four
have no
two. I'm gonna
doubt
go
that we're going to
4-2.
win.
I'm thinking 4-2.
4-2.
Yeah.
I think hmm, is it too much to think that Tata's thinking we got a midweek game and he's going to make good subs and we go 3-2? I'm
What
thinking
kind of
3-2.
what kind of field does Montreal play on? Is it grass?
I believe so.
I'm gonna stick with 4-2.
I think 3-2.
And a former Inter Miami player scores. It's easy to say that because there's
I
just
think
3 different
2.
guys that could. You think 2 score?
Mm-hmm.
So 2 out of 3. I'm just gonna say 1. Oh, so Sean's saying it's AstroTurf.
Is it?
He's saying
It's
Rug, and I assume
who?
Rug is AstroTurf.
It
I'm thinking it's Canadian.
depends on where they're playing. They have 2 stadiums.
Man, now we gotta do the quick Googles.
I know. And I should know this because
It's gonna be in Stade Saputo.
I think Saputo is grass. I think when they play in Montreal Stadium, I think that is turf.
Oh, it's a pristine natural grass field.
Yeah. Yeah, because they can play. I think they've played in the old Montreal Stadium at sometimes, because Saputo was doing a renovation or something a couple years ago, and that was definitely turf.
All right, so that kind
Yeah,
of
no
eliminates that.
grass.
So yeah, our main guys are gonna play. Oh, now I'm backtracking.
I
We've
think
got
3-2.
we've got 3 games in 8 days.
Well, and don't forget, no Toto in the back line.
Well, that's why I said 2.
So
I gave that 2 already.
yeah,
I'm gonna stick on 4-2 just because I said it.
go for it.
I'm gonna stick on my
I
guns.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't want to give the same score prediction
I
because
just
what
think
fun is that? But
you're gonna rest Messi and Suarez a little more in this game.
mhm.
Though we keep on saying this, and we're not resting Messi at all, and he seems like he's in great form.
And we're not resting Suarez either. I don't think we need to, man. I really don't. I don't think these guys have had as much don't have as many minutes in their legs as they would like if they were still playing in Europe and stuff. I think they've had a lot of rest lately because we haven't had midweek games until this
You
week.
know what kind of sucks for this team though? Like this is so we've got Montreal. We fly to Montreal. So guess Saturday morning, Friday night, we fly to Montreal. Come back Sunday. Then we fly to Orlando.
Hmm.
Play at home. And then the next week we got to fly all the way to Vancouver. And then come back from Vancouver for a midweek game against Atlanta. Like this is a little bit of a tough stretch that people really
Yeah.
haven't talked about. You got a lot of games. We've got what is this? I wish I had my calendar in front of me. So between May 11th and June 1st, in the next 3 weeks, we've got 6 games. So it's basically a game every 3 days. That's a little bit of a tough
Yeah,
stretch. And
and I think
that Tata's probably looking at.
he probably is, but I think even if he does decide to rest some guys, I think we still have the roster and we still have the chemistry at this point in the season between teammates to beat Montreal. 3-2 is me being a little bit generous to them. I wanted to say 3-1, but I do think that we might suffer defensively with no Toto.
Yeah, I think that's
So,
a fair.
yeah. But yeah, so we've given our predictions, and before we wrap it up, let's jump into some fun stuff around MLS. So two of them were really cool pregame, like I don't want to say celebrations, but like pregame events that the Fire and Atlanta are doing. I didn't realize the Chicago Fire had this, and I think it is absolutely awesome now. They have like a break in case of an emergency, like fire alarm, and they have a celebrity come in and break it with a fire axe, which I think is freaking awesome. And for everybody should know, Atlanta United has the rail spike that they drive into the ground. I had to put this in here because anybody who knows me knows I love baseball. I had to throw Andrew Jones in here, former Braves like All Star and probably Hall of Famer, and they had him come out and drive in the stake for this game. And seeing both of these got me thinking, why the hell don't we have something like this? Will we have something like this at MFP?
I have answers for this, but it's going to lead me down a deep, dark rabbit hole of statements that I don't really know if I want to go down.
Okay.
I will say this. I think it's because our culture, our supporter culture, is very much based on a different culture than Chicago and these other teams.
That's fair.
I think we're coming from a different
But
place and we're
I
emulating
think
a
we could
different
find
environment.
something. Like, we could do
As
like
long as
the
we don't do
Panthers do
what
with
New
a drum. Like, we
as
could
long
put
as
a
we don't do
drum
what New
down in
England
front.
did.
No, that stupid T chest was horrible. I
But like that's
almost
what I'm
put that
saying.
I almost put that in here for reference, but and before we get further into it, I did want to shout out Vancouver Whitecaps celebrated their 50th anniversary over the weekend. And had a record attendance, 32,465 fans in their stadium, which is awesome. So yeah, just wanted to shout that out before we get any further into it.
By the way, I just call out like cool one. Portland, I think, cuts up a tree when they
When
score.
they score a goal, and then Nashville, Nashville's right. Anytime, anytime somebody scores a goal for Nashville, they cut a vinyl record with the announcer announcing the goal and give it to the player.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that one.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah,
get my hands on one of those.
I'm not really well versed in Latin soccer culture, but it doesn't feel like that's something they do, and we will not do it. That's just we're
I don't
emulating a
know.
very specific type of club. Our
Yeah,
supporters groups are emulating a very specific type of supporter group.
and I
They want
get
to be
that.
that.
But like all the celebrities that we have coming into the stadium, like we had Jimmy Butler there over the weekend. A couple celebrities. Listen, I'm not that great with like A-listers. Mike is the A-list guy. He knows who else was there. Uh,
No, I think this week I was actually shocked. This week he was the only celebrity I'm aware that I was aware
no,
of was
there was
there.
somebody else that was like shaking Messi's hand and stuff. I don't know who it
Well, a
was.
lot of them are also like Latin DJs and stuff. A lot of them come. I don't know
Yeah,
them at
I
all.
don't know them, but like, and it could be something like that. Like, just have like a celebrity DJ, or I don't know. Oh, Joe has a good idea. I don't know if I can put it up, but I'm going to anyway. Celebrities do
That's
a line of
see,
coke
that's
before most
Miami.
games. Or I don't know, break a bottle of champagne like on the supporters section, like they're christening a boat or something. I don't
Yeah, you
know.
can't do that with kids in the stands.
Let's do something like just.
I
I think
I
it would be
I
cool, and I think
conceptually
there's something
agree
they
with
can
you. I
find
just don't
something.
think that's not the club we're gonna be. Like this is
Yeah.
where we start going of if you want to know what we would do, honestly, it'd be lighting flares. Find a way to light flares safely that we'd be allowed to do. Give a
Sure.
celebrity a flare That I could see because you have that emulation of South American, flares.
Yeah. Or you could do like the Panthers. The Panthers have that giant drum and they have a celebrity bang the drum.
Yeah, but
Like we could
you're still
totally
talking.
steal that.
But that's not who. That's not.
You don't think we could have a giant drum with all the supporters groups emblems on that drum sitting in front of the supporters section and have a celebrity banging on it and
Could
that wouldn't be
we?
awesome?
Could we? Yes. Would
That
it
would
be
kind of
awesome?
match.
Yes. Will we? No.
Mm. Well, everybody who's listening in the comments, drop what you think we should do. Let's hear from you guys. And if you guys have some good ones, we'll throw them up there.
So Ash goes Asado for all. You know what we should do? I will tell you what we should do. Pre-game every match, we should have a Kahachina and be doing a fucking pig. And the pre-match things, you cut off the pig's head. A celebrity cuts off the pig's head and holds it up.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
And then does a
That
shot of
would be
Cafecito.
cool. We tried to do the
Sponsored by
shots of
Cafe Bustelo.
Cafecito post game, remember?
Yeah, sponsored by
Nobody wanted
Cafe
to do it.
Bustelo, a shot of it. Well, the players couldn't because they didn't want to ingest stuff that was from us. But
Yeah.
I think they thought we were trying to poison them at that point in their
I
career.
think COVID was still a thing, wasn't it?
By the way, I don't know if you're watching this at all. The Tampa Bay Rowdies are up 5-4 in extra time right now.
Who are they playing?
I don't even know.
Oh,
I went to go I always do a check out Twitter before we get done to see if anything's come up recently. And
it'd be funnier if I knew who it was.
It's another USL team. Do you see the end? Do you see the end of the Madrid game?
Yeah, what bullshit.
He was offsides.
No, he wasn't.
His shoulder was offsides.
No.
I absolutely think it was.
No.
I was just looking at
And
the pictures
besides the fact,
shoulder
the
counts.
ref should have never blown that dead. He should have let it play on.
That's true.
Because then they couldn't review it.
But I still think he was offsides.
I don't. I think, and I will continue to say this, I think the refs are very much in Real Madrid's pockets. I don't care what anybody says.
Are you suggesting that in professional football, a ref may be biased by a player?
I 100% say that. Yeah.
I can't believe that.
Yeah. In this case, it's absolutely true. Absolutely. And that is why for Champions League final, I will be wearing one of my very few non-Liverpool kits. I have a Dortmund Ruiz kit or Roy's kit, and I will be rocking that since it'll be his last game for Dortmund.
Just think about if a certain midfielder from Real Madrid joined us in the summer, we could have a trophy presentation for the Champions League.
No, we wouldn't. No, absolutely not. Would that happen? But
you can't put that again. You can't not think this club wouldn't do that.
They would try. I don't know that it would happen. But yeah, Sam or Sean, sorry. Rumors are that St. Louis has already started talking with him, which would be a natural connection with their heavy German influence. I think that he's interested in coming to MLS if the offer's right. But I do think he's also still playing at a level where he doesn't have to come if he doesn't want to.
I thought the more interesting one was Nacho talking about that he wants to come to MLS because I don't know who's going to go after him.
Yeah,
because we're not even being speculation for that one.
No, we're not. Royce would be cool to have here. I would love it, but there's no connection. There's no reason to bring him here unless Messi secretly has admired his game for years and never said anything. Always a guy I hoped would join Liverpool, honestly. I always felt like he would fit in there, and it never happened. But yeah, I think that's all we have. Mike, you have anything else?
No, I think it's it's kind of funny. It's tougher to do a show when you destroy a team 6-2 than when you have close matches or things to discuss. Like the end of the day,
I don't know if it's tougher to do a show. It's easier to keep on target.
I think it's just you have less to talk about. At the end of the day, I will call out. We were promised a certain team. We've been bitching for months now. That team didn't show up. Past 2 games, it's starting to show up. So
Starting to see it.
I think the level of excitement fans should have, no matter your feelings on how we got to this point, like somewhat this is the time to start rallying around team. Like, okay, we're here, we're winning. Like let's all get behind the take it to the finish line, because this is what, if you heard me at the beginning of the year, no way we could win trophies. I didn't believe, but I'm getting to this point where I got to start believing. Like it was a hell of a win, and still we did it without 3 of our starters. If we ever
Yeah,
have a match with all 11 starters, Mike V might not be wrong. You might not be. There might not be a team in this league that can beat us.
it's true. And I don't know. I think it's very interesting that somebody who very much goes like off of his emotions and but can't buy in like we're gonna win something beginning of the season.
I
Can't just believe. Ted Lasso would be disgusted with you.
Well, it's funny because we were rewatching season 3 of Ted Lasso. In fact, we just got done with the Total Football when we were talking about the overlap. So I'm like, wait, you're missing the concept, the core concept of his. At the beginning, just logically, couldn't look at it, and I didn't think we'd be this good. I think that was the piece of, if you told me at the beginning of the season, hey, we were gonna have a 6-2 match where Messi does 4 assists and a goal, sorry, 5 assists and goal, and it's against the number 3 team in the league, I'm not going to necessarily believe it. I'm thinking it might be a one-off, except we also had a 4-0 match and a 4-2 match where we have 11 more goals than the second highest team in the league right now, and we're only in week 12. Like, there's enough here to start saying this could be real. And so that's where you're starting to see this turn of, okay, I have to admit, I'm still not supporting Tata. Look at, I'm nitpicking. He didn't play a center back correctly, but I'm starting to believe that we actually could win MLS Cup now. And I wasn't there 4 weeks ago, but I'm now to a point that I could see us getting the points now to get us in the playoffs and running the playoffs.
And go back, people. Watch our episode from 4 weeks ago where I said, Mike, if we have a good run in the next 4 games, you're gonna flip flop.
No, you said 2 games, and it wasn't 2 games. It's taken 4. And
I'm gonna
in
go
that
back and
4th
find
game,
it. I think I
you
said
find it.
4 games.
You didn't say 4. You said 2. In that 4th game, 6-2, 5 goals, 1 assist. Suarez has a hat trick in 12 minutes. Was I believe what you said?
It's a 12-minute hat trick.
It doesn't feel like that was a one-off. Not after the Orlando match, but if it crashes down, then I'll just pretend this episode never happened.
Yeah. But anyway, as always,
Yes,
guys in
Rebellion.
the
Let's
chat.
keep it going. That's what I'm saying. Like, let's
Yeah. Let's keep the wins rolling in. But yeah, thank you guys in the chat as always. You guys made the show awesome tonight. Thank you all who are listening, who are watching us on YouTube, liking and subscribing. Videos have been getting more traction, so please keep getting us out there, putting us out there. Oh, Mike has something he wants to
one
say.
thing, we know the audio sucked Saturday night in the stadium, where that was my fault. I forgot to charge up our microphones. And so we actually had one pair of Bluetooth headphones that we each had one piece in our ear. It was not the best solution.
Wasn't ideal.
It was not ideal. So then we are working through solutions. It's a lot harder to record in an open parking lot on battery power.
We did take our first step and we were live.
Yep.
We were actually live. It wasn't just pre-recorded and released. So we're going to continue to try and work that out and get it to where it needs to be so that we have the audio level that we both find acceptable for those situations, because and Mike is scouring the internet trying to find new mics.
No, I'm set on the mics now. I'm just reading this comment from Mike V. It took Norm Macdonald to tell a joke to express. Like, what a random reference of Norm Macdonald. Mike, you're dating
Mike V,
yourself on
man.
this one, man.
He never disappoints, man. Never. He's always got a good comment in there. But anyway, thank you guys for liking, for listening. make sure you hit the thumbs up button, give us a like so we can get some more traction, keep that going. Yeah, make sure you hit the bell to subscribe. We dropped like an emergency episode last week. We went live from the stadium this weekend. And if anything else comes up, don't do that, Sean. His wife's gonna kill him.
Have you seen the price of these? I just looked one up.
Yeah.
The Ultimate IRL V7 backpack, $2,700. No, I'll pass. We're doing this with $30 mics I bought on Amazon.
Yeah, we'll do that first. But yeah, we will come at you guys probably Tuesday of next week before Mike makes his journey to Orlando. And I will guess we probably come at you some point after the game, whether it's if Mike is able to Thursday. If not, maybe I'll come at you solo if he's still recovering from his bus ride. Any final thoughts, Mike?
Vamos Miami, man. Like let's keep this ball rolling. Let's get another win. Let's get to a point where you don't want to fire Tata. And Mike V admits or makes it, I won't say admits, makes a statement that Tata is not the worst coach ever. Like, let's get to that point.
Won't
Believe.
happen, but
Believe.
let's believe it. Believe it, guys. Believe it. Anyway, thanks, guys. We'll see you next week. Everybody, make sure. Oh, damn! I didn't even know you knew how to do that. Good work, man. But yeah, we'll come at you next week, and yeah, do all the things like subscribe, and yeah, and we are going to kick some Montreal ass on grass.